Hey guys, Nick here. Thanks for coming by. Little bit different video today. I'm kind of doing a lot of reflecting. I've haven't been making a ton of videos the last week or so because there's been a lot of stuff going on as far as me personally. I've been struggling a little bit. I was in a car accident, had my wisdom teeth taken out, had CT scans at Vanderbilt. My ex-father-in-law passed away pretty suddenly, so I had to go out of town for a little bit to attend his service. So there's been a lot of stuff going on. But besides all that, in the past few weeks, I've gotten to talk to a lot of you guys, some in person that were just freshly diagnosed and don't really know what's the next step or what to do. And I know that sense of urgency, of wanting to have something done, immediately, and needing to get it fixed and getting it addressed. And so I kind of wanted to talk about what it's like to when you're just diagnosed, like just fresh, just right out of the gate. Um, Depending on the cause of your liver disease, I would anticipate there's a lot of different angles that I could maybe go at with this. But what I thought I would do was talk about what's urgent and what isn't. And I'm not saying this as a medical professional. I'm not giving you medical advice. I am in no way medically trained. But we had to kind of learn how to prioritize certain things. So, one of the topics I'll just touch on briefly are medical procedures, and specifically paracentesis, endoscopy, scopes, things like that. For those of you that are getting ready to have your very first paracentesis or have just received your first, and those guys that I've talked to, you know who you are. Um, there's, I know there's a lot of fear, and the first thing I'll say is that it is a very intense procedure as far as what it will be done, but it is painless. Now, the environment in which that it's done is a little bit peculiar because it happens in the interventional radiology department at a hospital, which is not where a lot of people go. It's despite the technicalities about the procedure, which are pretty major. I won't go into depth about it in this video, but it is pretty intense. It's a routine procedure from the hospital standpoint. A lot of stuff can go wrong, but the relief that you feel as a patient once you're done is extraordinary. Now, I will caution those of you out there that are having a paracentesis done to be really knowledgeable and really stay on top of how much fluid they're taking from you. A lot of times they'll try to take, as much as they can, but you might start feeling, like tension in your chest or just a woozy feeling or like breathing is hard. That if that's happening, you're starting to go into shock. So you need to let your team know, as it's happening. It can be disorienting in a way because you really want that fluid off, and they want to get it out too. But losing that much fluid, whether it be good or bad fluid from the body at once, is very difficult for your body to do. So just keep a close tab on that, and address it as you go in for the first time. A few other things, a lot of people have been asking are about fatigue and sleep. Uh, my sleep was completely effed up, after I was diagnosed, and we didn't know why, and are medical reasons why your sleep gets all messed up. Big thing has to do with the hormone levels, that you've got going on. Your liver does a lot in that area, and it really throws your body for kind of a roller coaster type thing. Will the fatigue go away? Yes, to a certain degree, just depending on how your body heals and reacts. But it's something that I have to deal with and focus on a just a daily basis. It just almost becomes just kind of not a routine matter, but it just becomes something that I've gotten kind of used to. Another thing that has been brought up, and I'll actually do a video in depth about this, is how fast does the transplant process take? Now, this is a big struggle, I know, for a lot of us, because I thought, when I was essentially told that I had to have a liver ASAP or I was going to die, that was, I'm like, well, shit, let's get on it. Let's find me a liver. It's not that simple. There are a slew of requirements that have to be fulfilled. I know at my hospital, in order for their transplant board, and yes, there is a board of providers to sign off for you to be activated or even listed. Um, and those things can really vary. When I was needing the liver the most, I couldn't have survived the surgery. So it wouldn't have been possible for me to survive the anesthetic, let alone go through the surgery, let alone do the year's worth of recovery minimum. Just to physically heal. Also, it's, you hear a lot, you have to have it in a year or you're going to die. You're going to have it in this time frame or you're going to die. Those are a prognosis. And you guys know, a prognosis is not a death sentence. That's one of my big things. But, it's not as cut and dry as that. There's a lot of other procedures and a lot of other things that can be done in the interim, because I really want to drive home that transplant is last resort. That's when everything else has been tried within reason, everything else has been done, and transplant is the only option for the continuation of life. But there are things to take into account. Will your quality of life actually be worse? Could the surgery kill you, because it's a very involved surgery? I've also had someone to bring up, as far as the transplant process goes, the living donor question. And I'm learning about this. I don't have a lot of experience with that. I do know some people that are, and some people that are somewhat familiar. So I'm kind of educating myself on that. I will say, with what I do know, is even if there is a living donor, it doesn't necessarily mean that there's going to be an immediate sign off and that the transplant's going to happen. The hospital has to take into account, what's the probability of death? What's the likelihood of the donor and the donee? Are they in fact a match? Is it, are you robbing Peter to pay Paul? In a lot of ways, and those are really serious things to think about, really major things. Just because someone might say they're willing, or just because somebody, if my wife or whatever was a perfect match, doesn't necessarily mean that the medical team will agree to go through with it. So, those are just kind of some general stuff, to think about right after you're diagnosed. It's a lot. It's really too much for your brain to just wrap itself around, because there's so many moving parts, and we want it to be fixed, and we want to go back to being healthy, as healthy as we possibly can be. But we have to let life and things kind of play out, because remember, the most important thing is for you to live. And sometimes the process doesn't work as quickly or as efficiently as we would like to. But just when you've just been diagnosed, take a breath. Reach out. I've got the Facebook group and the link in the description below, where we chat all the time. The chat's going 24/7. There's been some awesome things that have been brought up, and some people that are really being helped. in that group. So I can't recommend it enough. So guys, I am going to go ahead and wrap this video up for that. I'm kind of rambling a little bit, but I'm going to have some more structured videos come up here in the next couple of days where I actually talk more about transplantation, where I talk more about MELD score. I'm going to get into that a little bit more. That's been requested. I'm going to start talking about, just kind of daily routines and how important a routine is, when you're battling this. So again, thank you guys so much. I love you all. Information and details are down in the description. You can find me on Twitter at Fortress Farms 82. I've also just started an Instagram account, not much on there, but I began the Instagram. And as always, you've got my Facebook group. So guys, I love you. It is Friday here, and I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful weekend.